welcome. Thank you for coming to Back to School Night. Those that are out in the lobby, we invite you to come on in and find a seat. And you folks would all make good Baptists. You all sit in the back. Nobody sits up here in the front right here. A few of you did. Right there. You got the front row seats. We won't charge extra for those. Welcome. This is our third Back to School Night service, which is a little different. Normally, we are all together. And obviously, with unique seasons, we've got some adjustments we've made. And one of those was that we split our Back to School Night up into three segments, and I think this is the smallest one. I don't know if people started falling asleep at home. This place was packed out in the last one, socially distanced, of course, but packed out there. And welcome. We're so glad you're here. How many of you, it has felt like the longest summer in the history of mankind? You're ready to drop the kids back off at school? We had somebody ask us in one of our families was asking back in June or July, Pastor Ryan, you guys are opening, right? I said, that is the plan. We're moving forward. It would have to be, a weird situation where we didn't open. And they said, well, here, just to let you know, whether or not you open, we're dropping our kids off on September 2nd. And they're your responsibility at that point. Anybody else, you feel that pain of that parent there? A couple of you are feeling that. For those that might not know me, my name is Pastor Ryan. I'm the lead pastor here at Liberty Baptist Church. And also, technically, my title is the administrator of Newport Christian School. Kevin Cyprian, our principal, really is on the day-to-day basis of running all of the details. But since Newport Christian School was founded in 1981, it was founded as a ministry of Newport Christian School. And for those that might be new families here, as the lead pastor of the church and our assistant pastors, we're very involved in the spiritual life of the students. I preach in chapel. I teach one of the high school classes, a junior and senior class. I help to coach the high school basketball team, help to coach the high school football team. And so our church family and our church staff are very plugged in and involved, and we work together with our school staff for the spiritual formation and development of the young people here. And so I want to get a chance to meet you if you're a first-time student or this is a first year at Newport. Number one, we say welcome. This is the largest enrollment we've ever had, and so we have the highest number of first-year families. If you are here for the first time and you're a little scared, you're a little, man, I don't know if I know anybody. Basically, because of the growth of the school, our school has in some ways exploded this year. We have a waiting list of 30 or 40. We've had to tell they can't come because almost every elementary class is packed. And I say packed, it's capped at our student-teacher ratio. It's full. And so, but if you're here for the first time, I would just say, you look around, about a little less than 1 out of every 3 students is here for the first time. So you're not alone. And there's a whole lot of families that are joining us for the first time. And those of us that aren't, we look forward to welcoming you into the Newport Christian School family. And we were going to sing, Brother Ryan. We sang the last 2 times. What if we don't sing for the sake of time? It's already 8 o'clock. Is that okay, Rebecca? I'm just going to jump into it because we were going to sing In Christ Alone. It's an awesome song, but it's 8, it's late. Some of these kids want to get home and get to bed. And so the way this is going to work, I'm going to talk to you for 20 or 25 minutes here. We're going to be together for about 40, 45 minutes, and then we're going to dismiss you. You'll be able to go to your classes. If you have any school supplies to drop off, you can do that, meet your teachers. But I'm going to cover some things, and this year's Back to School Night is a little different. As we've already talked about, we've had 3 of them instead of 1 of them to try to not overcrowd the auditorium and put too many people all together at one time. But we're going to cover some things. Is there anybody that we missed with we want to at least have 1 per family. Did anybody not get one of these as you came in, the folders? And is anybody, we'll get this, are we out? Oh, we're out. We missed... We're out. I've got 1 here that I can give if we have a family that didn't get them, and we can pass this along. If there's anybody that didn't get one, we'll get those out. We've got a couple more left here. You got one? Do you guys need one? Did you get one or no? Caleb, we need one right down here. We'll get one right there. All right, we've got a couple. And if there's somebody that has extras, more than 1 per family, we got one right. I appreciate that. Anybody else needs one? Came in and we need one right back here, and we have an extra one for this from this family. I appreciate it. And we'll go. We need one back here, 1 per family. And is there anybody else that your family has extras, or there's extras somewhere else, and we need to pass those around? I will. Here, take this one too, and we can pass this out to another family, and get that there, Kevin or Caleb. Thank you. All right, we're getting them spread around, families. We want to try to get 1 per family. If not, we will, Kevin, if you did not get one of these folders, make sure you see me or Kevin afterwards. Kevin is our principal. Give us your email, and we will make sure that we email specific, for sure, the pertinent health protocols and some of those other things, and make sure we get that out to you to make sure everybody has this material, and we'll take care of that. The first word that comes to my mind when I think of 2020 is crazy. Anybody with me? You would agree 2020 has been a little bit of a crazy year. I've learned some terms and some words. COVID-19 I had never heard of before. I've never in my life seen where every school, if somebody would have told you in January, every school in the country will be shut down in March. Who would have thought? Who would have believed? It's been a crazy year. But I also want to let you know that this crazy year has been filled with some crazy blessings. And our church, Liberty Baptist Church, what God's been doing in the last few months here is amazing. Many in our school family, you come to services at our church, and we're holding right now outdoor services out in our beautiful courtyard in the grass area. And God has been bringing us hundreds of first-time guests, and every week people that are placing faith in Christ and being baptized and uniting with our church. And we've seen some amazing things in the church, and we're thankful for it. But we've also seen some crazy blessings in the school. I already alluded to it. This year, our largest enrollment, and more than 100 new families, more than 115 new students at NCS this year. And in the midst of the craziness and the crazy blessings, I want to let you know that we as the staff and faculty of Newport, truly, we are crazy excited about the coming school year. We can't wait to see what God's going to do. Now, here's the one thing we know. We spent 2 full days in staff training last week, and I shared my heart, and we brought in a guest speaker that came in, and we went through some things. To be honest, it's going to be probably the craziest school year that we've been a part of. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know what it's all going to look like, but we do believe it's going to be a great year for every one of us. I want to talk to you. I'm going to give you 3 thoughts as it relates, and a lot of my talk tonight is going to be talking about a topic that is probably one of my least favorite things to talk about, and that is the virus, COVID, and the things that surround it. But we all need to be on the same page, understanding what is this going to look like, what does it mean, and here's what I would encourage you to do. I'm going to cover a good bit of things. We have some things in the folder that I'm not going to cover. We want you to take that, and if you didn't get it, get us your email. We'll get that emailed out to you by tomorrow, Lord willing, and so there are some things that I won't cover, some things I'll have you pull out and I will cover. If there's anything that I cover that is unclear, or I go quickly and you didn't quite understand it, or you're confused, jot it down and talk to me, talk to Kevin, talk to your teacher, and we want to make sure tonight the goal is that we all enter the school year on the same page. So I want to give you 3 thoughts. Number 1, I want to share with you our commitment. What is our commitment here at Newport Christian School? Our commitment is to provide a first-class, in-person Christian education, and here's a key phrase, in as normal an environment as possible. Our goal, we believe at Newport Christian, that it's vital for our kids to have an in-person education for most kids. Now, there are some that might have underlying health conditions that wouldn't be wise for them right now to be back in in-person classes, and that's a decision for a family and a medical doctor with their family doctor to make. But for most, we believe that it's vital for our children to have this, and our goal is that it is not, while it's going to be a unique year, our goal is that we're not putting our students in 300 individual bubbles and they don't interact and they don't grow. Our goal is not to put your child into solitary confinement. We don't believe they should be sitting at the lunch table with kids. I've seen pictures of some schools as they open, and every school's got to do based on their enrollment, based on their demographics, based on the reality of the virus in their area. They've got to do what they need to do. But for us, our philosophy, we don't think that a kid should be sitting all by himself at a lunch table, not interacting, not growing. There's so much spiritually, academically, socially, physically that relates to the development of children. And so that's our commitment. Why is that our commitment? Why are we doing that? Well, we agree with the CDC director, Robert Redfield, who stated last month that closed schools pose a larger public health risk to children and families than reopening the schools. He went on to say that we have seen far greater rates of mental health issues in our children, with teen suicides, drug usage, drug overdoses, and other negative impacts, all far higher during the COVID season. We also agree with the American Academy of Pediatrics, which has stated that children learn far better in person than online. And how many of you that try to do online learning with your kids would agree that online learning is not the answer long term? I am not called to be a teacher, you might say. Those that are teachers, you are called to be a teacher. But it's more than just their academics. Our children have had their social and their physical and their spiritual development kind of interrupted and hit a speed bump during these months. We agree with the American Academy of Pediatrics when they strongly recommended that most students be physically present in school as much as possible. We also concur with the U.S. Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, who insisted that most children should be back in school this fall. Beyond all of that, why is this our commitment? We believe as a Christian ministry that we have a constitutional right, but even more importantly than that, we have a religious right and a religious duty to train and educate our children, and that cannot be done effectively through long-term online learning. So for us, those things inform our commitment to try to provide as normal an environment as safely possible. And I would say that based on the interest in our school and what's happening here, many in Orange County agree. We have the largest enrollment we've ever had with a waiting list of scores of students wanting to get in, families wanting to get in. Also, we're thankful that as of Sunday, Orange County is off the watch list, the state watch list for the coronavirus, and the numbers are all trending in the right direction. And we pray that that will continue and things around us will continue to open up. So that's our commitment. Again, we don't think that our children should be in solitary confinement, never seeing each other's smiles, playing no games together at recess. We believe that some of those precautions have long-term effects that should be considered along with some of the physical things that we need to consider with the virus. So, that's our commitment. How are we planning to fulfill that commitment to you and your children? Secondly, I told you I was going to give you 3 thoughts. The second thought is our changes. I said as normal as safely possible. Here's the reality. School will look different. Just like tonight. We didn't have one back to school night. We had 3. Now, it's very similar. It feels pretty normal, but you're not seeing everybody in your class tonight. You're not seeing all of the parents. You're not seeing all of those things. And so there will be some changes. What are those changes? Well, our school has invested over $50,000 in technology upgrades, in infrastructure upgrades, in equipment purchases, in sanitization equipment and things. We have made some changes to some of those policies and procedures and things that we're going to do and equipment that we have so that we can have a live stream option if there's the need there. And that leads to the second change, a live streaming option. And there's a policy that's a handout there from Kevin, and you can talk to your teacher. I'll say this. The live stream option is not something that's just broadcast that anybody can tune into at any time, and anyone that wants to can get a free education from Newport Christian School. It's not just out there. It's something that would be, let's say, we have at least 2 families that I know of in our school that a parent has a severe underlying health condition, a major disease that they're struggling through. And for at least the beginning of the semester, their doctor has said, you should not have your child in in-person classes. Well, for those families, we have made it. We've invested thousands of dollars so that every one of our classes can be live streamed. And so those students can start the school year out at home, and then as the situation gets to where they can come, they can join us. There might be a situation where I test positive for COVID. If that's the case, my children will need to quarantine. I have 4 kids in the school. They'll need to quarantine at home, and there's the live stream option. This is not something, well, I don't feel like going to school today. I think I'll just tune in. It has to be an approved absence, and your the school office or your teacher will send out the link for that day's live stream. And again, they'll have to tune in live because it will be a live stream option, and we're not publicly archiving all of those for anybody to go back for that. That's for, and you can see the policy there, but that's one of the changes is a live streaming option. You might want to write this down or send yourself a note. This is just a one-time change, but our first day of school has a change. How many of you are going into 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade? Let me see. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade. If that's you, next Wednesday, you don't come to school until 8:30. Normally, we pack the courtyard out, we do Pledge of Allegiance, we have opening prayer, we have the whole crowd, everyone's doing their photo booth, their school pictures. We didn't want to send, with kids and parents and siblings, 1,000 people up to pack our courtyard out. That's just not wise, shoulder to shoulder on the first day of school. So what we're going to do is, TK to first grade will meet up there at 8 o'clock, 6th to 12th will meet down here at 8 o'clock, and we'll have photo booths. You can take your first day of school pictures, and then they'll go with their teachers into their class, and then 2nd to 5th will come at 8:30, trying to divide the student body into 3 fairly equal groups to keep our groups and the numbers of people there. We're spreading out classrooms around the campus. We're not going to have the entire secondary up in the 2nd floor. There are classes in the 2nd floor, the 1st floor, the community center. Weather permitting, we may have some secondary or even elementary might go out for an hour to outdoor classes in the courtyard and things. We're trying to spread the physical location of our classes out on our campus. In addition, you'll see desks are spread out on our campus. And let me just say this, several of our elementary classes, you're going to walk in there today and they don't have any desks. We ordered a ton of desks weeks ago to come. And we thought all the schools in California are closed, there should be a surplus of desks. I guess every family in the world is ordering desks to their house. And so they were supposed to already be here. Now we're told they'll be here the first day of school or a few days after. We'll make it work for a few days. But what we're doing in those classes, because some of those younger classes had more communal tables where the kids we're making it where almost every class will have individual desks or at the most a long table with 2 kids sitting at it. We're spreading out the physical distance of the kids from years past. We're spreading out recess times and have playground equipment in different areas will be separate. And just all of these kind of practical things that will be changes that we're doing. In your folder, there's an insert called Health Protocols. If you want to grab that, I'm going to run through that with you real quick. This will be the bulk of my time. I'll take another 7-8 minutes here, then I'll finish it up with a couple closing thoughts. Health Protocols. We had a task force within several members of our staff that spent hours reading hundreds, if not thousands of pages of guidelines, suggestions, CDC, the WHO, not the music group, the World Health Organization, other school reopening plans. We've filtered through tons of content. And then we had to say, based on our school enrollment, with our demographic, with the reality of cases in Orange County, with our campus size, with what we have, what makes sense for us? We have a multi-page document that has all of our policies, triggers for a class going to online learning, triggers for the entire school going to online learning, sanitization policies. Rather than give overkill of info to you, we put this sheet together. With our new policies, what is it going to look like from your end? And we want to go over the main things with you tonight. Number 1, you can see increased daily sanitization of facilities and equipment. Every night after school, our campus will be sanitized. We contract with a company that does that, and they'll be here every night sanitizing. When the kids come to class in the morning, there'll be a at least for the beginning until the situation changes, there'll be a temperature check when they come to class. We have infrared monitors can go right there on their wrist. They can test, and if a child has a 100.4 or higher fever, they'll need to go home. And we'll confirm that with another, make sure that it's not just a faulty thermometer or whatever, make sure, and if that's the case, they'll have a temperature check when they get to their class. Increased hand washing and hand sanitizer throughout the day. And we've put sanitizers in every classroom, and we're going to do that. Kind of makes you wonder, how dirty were our hands before COVID when we weren't doing all of this? Face coverings. What are we going to do with face coverings? And I know this is a hot topic. You don't have to send me your favorite video about whether you're for it or against it. I have plenty of church members that have already done that through the last few months. Now, our church family's been great about all this, but I know these are hot, divisive topics for some. For us, what are we doing? 2nd grade and below, based on the CDC recommendation, it's optional. There's no mandate there for 2nd grade and below. What we're doing with 3rd grade and above, we are asking when they are coming into school in the morning, most of the time, once they get to their class, your children, one of the nice things about being a part of a smaller private school, smaller Christian school, once they get in class, your kids are not going to be interacting closely with hundreds of other kids. They're going to be interacting closely with a dozen or 2 or 3 other kids, a few dozen kids, maybe at max at a recess. And so what we want to do is when they're coming in the morning, when there might be 100 kids coming in through the same entrance, have the kids wear a mask of some sort to get into class. Once they sit down, at that point, it's totally up to what your family is comfortable with, what you want. And here's what we need to say about that. You need to let your child know that. You can let your teacher know the preference, but we cannot guarantee that we can police 300 different kids. And if a kid pulls it off, the teacher has to stop in the middle of instruction. Johnny, put that back on. Oh, don't touch that. Oh, and you can imagine a 3rd grader, he's wiping his nose and he's got an itch and he gets tired and he's running out at recess. So you need to instruct your child what you want them to do with that. 3rd grade and above, once they're at their desk for instruction, it's totally up to the family's comfort level, what they would like to do there. And then the caveat to that would be if, let's say the teacher's going to run an activity where there might be 5 or 6 kids around a table doing a science experiment, they can then tell those kids, the teacher could say, let's all get our face coverings on so that we're going to come into closer contact there. The other thing I would say with this is if your preference is that your child wears a face covering all day long, we're asking that it would be a plastic face covering or plastic face shield of some sort. The reason behind that is so much communication happens non-verbally. And if a teacher is teaching a child, we want that teacher to see the smile of the child or the frown or the tear or the whatever. We've asked our teachers when they're instructing, if they're wearing a face covering, for it to be clear. We want the kids to see the teacher's smile. How many of you understand sometimes when somebody has a mask, it's hard to understand what they're saying? I'm going through the drive-thru and it's like, what's that? What's that? Yeah, that's what I want. Chick-fil-A. I want the peach shake, whatever it is. And so they don't have to wear the clear one to come into school, but if they're going to wear it during instruction time, we're asking that the children have a clear face shield of some sort so that they can interact and students can see each other's faces, each other's smiles. We think that's important and for them to have that. And so that is what we're looking to do there. Next, you can see the cohorts. What we've done is your child will be in a small group of students, their class, maybe another class at recess or whatever, and different cohorts will be using different entrances, exits, recesses, class locations. All of that has changed to keep smaller groups of students together throughout the day. That's one of our changes. If a child shows symptoms of sickness, a temperature over 100.4, runny nose, cough, etc., they'll be isolated and asked to be picked up immediately. If you have your cell phone, would you pull it out? I'm going to give you a phone number. I'm going to ask you to put it in. Sometimes the school tries to call and it's not in your contacts, and so you're like, I don't know who this telemarketer is. I'm not answering that. If the school is calling anytime, any school year, but especially this year, there's probably a reason we need to get in touch with you. So would you put in the school number 949-760-5485. I had this happen one time. The school had to call me 3 times in a row. My youngest son, he had banged his face into the bleachers in the gym and 4 teeth went up into his gums. And I was at a lunch with another pastor. I ignored it twice. Finally, they called me the 3rd time. I guess I'm supposed to answer that. Don't be like me. Don't be like Pastor Ryan. Answer the call when the school calls, all right? And also, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, it'd be great if you'd search up Newport Christian School and follow us there. We'll be putting out videos at times. We'll be putting out information, announcements. It'd be another great way if there's something that we're getting. We'll send emails out a lot with information. Your teacher will stay in contact with you, but Facebook and Instagram is also a good place sometimes for us to communicate with our school family. Moving along. We having fun yet? If a child has a fever, they need to be symptom-free for 72 hours without medication before returning to school. They may utilize the live stream education during that time. If a child is directly exposed to a confirmed case of COVID-19, they need to self-quarantine for 14 days and utilize the live stream education during that time. So if I get COVID-19, my kids will have to stay home and do the live stream. That's not what any of us want, but the thing none of us definitely want is for there to be a major outbreak in our school. So we're seeking to do some things that are wise to try to minimize or prevent that as much as possible. It says here, if that happens, if a child tests positive for COVID-19, we need that confirmed by a doctor. We will not share your personal health information with the students, the student body. We won't say this student tested positive. That's private information. But just like before a school might need a doctor's note to get out of class or to come back to class, we need to see a confirmation from a doctor. Because if we shut a classroom down, we're now affecting 15, 20 other families for 2 weeks. And we can't just do that because, well, my son got a cough and I had it, so I think he got it. It needs to be a confirmed case before that trigger happens. And we can't close the whole school down for 2 weeks because some people thought maybe I had it. And so if it's confirmed by a doctor, at that time, we'll communicate with the entire class to let them know there's been a confirmed case in that class, and instructions will be given on how that class will proceed. The infected student may return to school 10 days after symptoms first appeared or once they've received a negative COVID test. Much of this is just coming straight from state guidelines and CDC guidelines on dealing with these things with schools. Any absence due to COVID-19 will be counted as an approved absence, and affected students will move to live stream learning until their return to campus. So, before, absenteeism, if you miss a certain number of days, your GPA might be affected, you know, whatever. If you are home because you had to quarantine, there's no negative repercussions to that. If 2 students or staff in the same class test positive for COVID-19 in the same window of time, that class will move to online learning for 2 weeks while those students quarantine, or cohort. Meaning that's more in the secondary where you get cohorts, and so because they're moving to different classes. If more than 5% of the entire student body and staff test positive for COVID-19, the entire school will go to online learning for 2 weeks. It's very possible that happens. I think it's possible it doesn't happen. It'd have to be a pretty big outbreak with our student enrollment numbers for us to have to shut the whole school down. But what we've learned over the last 6 months is this thing changes very quickly. And the unexpected happens. So we want to be ready to deal with those things. You can see number 12 there, I think it is, whatever number it is. All protocols and policies are subject to what? Change. They're subject to change as the conditions change. The one thing we've figured out, the only thing that stayed the same over the last 6 months, is information has changed constantly. For your kids, what we want them to know, this meeting is not about scaring them. What we want them to know is school is going to feel as normal as possible. There are a couple things when they get there in the morning: a temperature check and wear a mask into school, and then do whatever your mom and dad say. And from then on, we don't want this to be I'm dealing with it right now so that we're all on the same page and you know what we're seeking to do. I don't want this to be the topic of conversation in every class. I want Jesus and the Bible to be the topic of conversation. I want math and English and history and sports, and I want STEAM and the STEAM lab, and I want those things to be the topics of conversation. And kids talking about their birthday party and what they want for Christmas. Our children's lives have been interrupted plenty over the last 6 months. Our goal is to provide a wonderful, loving, Christ-centered, safe environment for them to get back to school. That's where we're coming from. And these guidelines are seeking to do that. Let me just stop and say this. I'm going to let Kevin get up here in 3 or 4 minutes. Let me just stop and say this. There's no way we could put together a plan that all 300 families plus families in our school would fully agree with. There are very strong opinions on all of these things. So we've had to, this doesn't mean we won't listen to feedback, and if you have a concern, you can bring it to us, but we want to make it clear, here's how we're proceeding. Here's what, based on our research, based on guidelines, based on our class sizes, based on our campus size, here's how we're proceeding. And you can send us, did you see what this school's done? We've probably looked at a couple dozen schools our size, if not more, watched tons of, and so this is how we're moving forward. If you're to a place you say, that's not what I expected, that's not what I thought, I'm not comfortable taking my child with those, under those guidelines, we 100% respect your right to make the decisions you deem are best for your family. And there are 2 options. You can go to the online learning until the situations change that you are comfortable. And I don't think I've even said this to you, Kevin, but I think I would say if after tonight, now not 3 months from now, but if before the opening day of school you say, this just isn't what I expected, if you come to us, I think I would lean toward, and I don't know if I should say this without checking with you, refunding your registration. We're not trying to put anybody in a position they're not comfortable with. We want you to know what we're doing and for all of us to be moving forward on board with those things. Number 3. Number 1, I said our commitment. Number 2, our changes. Number 3, our caution. I think all of us understand this, but I want to make it very clear tonight. We started this school in 1981. I've been here for 5 years. There's never been a back-to-school night that we could stand up and say, we guarantee your child will not get sick at school this year. We guarantee your child will not come home with a virus. We could never say that. We guarantee there will be no sick days. And I want to make it clear, we have spent a lot of money, a lot of time to create a safe environment, but there's no way we can guarantee that you or your family will not contract COVID at some point during the school year. We've had people in our church, not very many, but from going to work, and I don't even think any of that. I know of a few in our church that have gotten the virus. None that I know of that got it here, but at work and other places. And you probably know people in your family or at work that have contracted it. There's no way that any place, Home Depot, Lowe's, Chick-fil-A, anywhere that you go can guarantee you when you come to this place of business, you will not get the virus. We're going to do our best, but we can't guarantee that. We also cannot guarantee that your child will not touch, the kindergartners in that class will not all touch the same doorknob, that they're not going to high-five each other at recess, that they're not going to play basketball with the same basketball. We're not going to buy 300 balls, give one to each kid and say, now go play by yourselves for recess. There's going to be interaction. By the way, I personally, beyond the physical health, the spiritual, emotional, relational health, I don't think it would be wise to give them 300 basketballs and go play by themselves. But there's no way that we can guarantee that your child is always going to be 6 feet away from someone else. And again, I personally don't even think that's emotionally healthy for the kids. With that in mind, in your folder, there's a waiver liability form that basically explains what I just said, just in a little more detail, that you understand there's no way Newport Christian School can guarantee your child's health. I have 4 kids coming to school on the opening day of school. I do that assuming the risk that there's a possibility one of them gets COVID and could bring it home to me. That's the reality that I live in. And by the way, when I enrolled them last year, I did it with the understanding that one of them could have gotten another virus and could pass it on to me. And I'm not trying to minimize COVID, but I come to work every day understanding assuming the risk. I could die in a car accident on the way. We assume risk in everything we do. You'll have to figure out for your family what's best, but we just want to make it clear from the beginning, we're doing our best, but nobody can guarantee anything. And so that waiver will be mandatory for children to come to the first day of school. So probably the best thing is for you to read through it tonight, and if you're comfortable with it, sign it and give it to your teacher tonight. And if not, you'll need to bring it to the first day of school. And if you drop a kid off on the first day of school and that's not been signed, we're going to go through and we'll have to call you and come back. We want to make sure we know, and just to be honest, in the day and age in which we live, for this ministry, we have to protect our ministry, that we can say every parent was informed what our protocols were, and they knowingly came and brought that in. And this isn't the first liability release form we've ever sent out for anything. That's something just that operates. If you go to take your kids to the trampoline park, they make you sign a liability release form, so that's where we live. That is not my spirit to talk about all that kind of stuff for a long time. It's not, if we went to lunch, it's not what I would want to talk about, but we needed to deal with it. With that being said, let me just say this, and let me close as Kevin gets ready to come. We are truly so excited for this school year. There's a possibility that we have to go to online learning, or a class or 2 or 3 has to go to online learning for 2 weeks. And if that's the case, we're going to roll with the punches and keep going. But we can't wait to see what God's going to do in your family and in mine through the ministry of Newport Christian School. We believe it's going to be an awesome year. We love our school families, and I'll be honest, we're more ready maybe than any year before, because once you lose something, you realize how much you miss it, to get back to teaching your kids. I think key words for all of us to remember during this season are flexibility, be flexible, and be patient. We're all learning and adjusting as we go. There will be some hiccups. There will be some misunderstandings. There will be some frustrations. And all of us, let's seek, teachers to the students, teachers to the parents, parents to the teachers. Let's show each other respect, love, grace, and patience through this unique season. If you have any questions, I hope you'll come to see me. If you're new, I'm going to be out in the courtyard when we dismiss. I'd love to meet your family, meet your children, and begin a relationship there. We think this is more than just a school. We really want it to be a family. We want to build relationships with you and your family and invest in you in any way that we can. I will say 2 things. One, you see Master Clubs insert in your folder and the Youth Rally insert in your folder. On Saturday the 12th, for 7th to 12th grade, we have a special teen event here. We'd invite you to come if you're 7th grade to 12th grade. And then, not the opening day of school, but the following Wednesday night, for 6th grade and below, we have what's called Master Clubs. It's an awesome time. It's a 1-hour program. Many school families that aren't a part of our church come every Wednesday night, bring their kids. Bible memory, teaching, games, activities, discipleship. That's every Wednesday night starting September 9th from 7 to 8. If you have any questions, you can see one of us, one of our pastors, and we can talk to you about that. And if there's any way that our church family can serve you throughout this, aside from the school, if we can pray with you, if there's something we can do for you, if you'd like to come to one of our outdoor services every Sunday at 10 o'clock, where the next couple of weeks we're outdoor, and soon, Lord willing, in September we'll be moving back indoor. But if you'd like to join us for a service anytime, you're welcome to do that. And as Kevin comes, you can come at this time, Kevin. I just want to say to our returning school families, I haven't seen you since March, most of you. I want to say thank you. We all got thrown for a loop in March, and our school families could not have responded with more grace, more patience, more flexibility. You were wonderful to work with. And I would like to say, along with that, thank you to our staff and faculty that pivoted so quickly and did their best under less than perfect circumstances to keep involved in the children's lives and educate the best we could. I'd like to say thank you to Kevin for his leadership through all of this. And so, teachers, let's thank the parents. Parents, let's thank the teachers and Mr. Cyprian for all that you did to finish off last school year. Kevin, as you come, if you're missing a folder, I guess we got a few more. We found a few more. We made up a few more. Any families missing the folder of information? They just came in with a few more. Anybody? Doug and Marquise will come through. Go ahead, Kevin.
We got a few folders there, so they're handing those out. Before I start, I want to again say what Pastor said. I want to say thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being flexible. This is the late crowd, so we're finishing up here. And again, we do appreciate you guys working with us on that. One of the changes that we did, we're really trying to do everything we can, make sure we have a safe school year this year. That being said, I want to get back to one of the normal things that we do at Back to School Night, and that is to introduce to you some of our new staff. So we'll go through those. We'll start with kindergarten, Miss Judy Baltazar. And I thought I saw her already. She's around. There she is, all the way in the back. Judy just moved here from Arizona, and she's newly married, so you can congratulate her for that. She has taught a kindergarten class last year. She taught TK the year before that. She has a bachelor's degree in elementary education from Golden State Baptist College, and she was teaching one of our 3 kindergarten classes this year. We are excited to have Judy with us. Moving up to 2nd grade, we have Mrs. Kate Park. I saw her somewhere. There she is. She has her bachelor's degree from the University of Texas at San Antonio. She has over 10 years experience in business. She has a combined 17 years experience in children's ministry. She's known the Lord since 2008, and we're excited to have her as one of our 2 2nd grade teachers, and her husband is completing his residency at UCI as an anesthesiologist. And so Mrs. Park, I don't know, I lost her already. She's over there somewhere. There she is. So thank you. And we're excited to have her in 2nd grade. Moving up to the secondary classes, 6th grade and above, Miss Anne-Marie Evans is going to be teaching social sciences. She has her bachelor's of clinical psychology, and that's with a minor in music. I tried to make sure I wrote this all down right to say it. Master of Science in industrial and organizational psychology, and she worked at Vanguard University for the last 5 years, and now we have her. So she's here for our secondary students, and we're excited about that. And then moving into our math and science department, Miss Sarah Lee. Miss Sarah Lee, yep, clap for her, there she is. And she has earned a diploma in early childhood education in Singapore. Then she went over to Australia, got a bachelor's of education in special education, and then came back to America and got her master's of education in Christian education from West Coast Baptist College. And now, again, we have her here. So we're excited to have her in our school. Last one is Mr. Dan Willard, right there. He is our new athletic director. He has been involved in sports for many years. He's taught at Shoreline Baptist, and he was the athletic director there for 35 years. I'm not even that old, brother. So, I don't know. Currently, the Shoreline Sports Recreation Director and the Associate Pastor, head of the Christian Athletic League of Orange County. And if that wasn't enough, he decided he's going to be our athletic director and take care of things here. And if you have any questions about sports, and again, everything is in flux here a little bit, so CIF, programs and all that stuff, see Dan, he'll be out in the courtyard after this. I also learned tonight that when you do 3 services, make sure you charge your iPad, Pastor, because it died on me and I'm on my phone now. So we'll be done quickly because my phone is dying as well. So a couple general announcements. These are things that we kind of cover at Back to School Night. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of little things here, but we are asking, again, as part of the new procedures, for the first week, we're asking for the first week of school that parents, if you would help us by remaining in your cars during pickup to limit the number of people that we have on campus. So when you come to pick up, there's a pickup line up by the gym up there where the elementary does. We'll have our teachers out there. We'll be using the radios, the walkie-talkies to let you know, okay, your children are coming, then we'll walk them out. Just trying to limit the number of students, again, our parents and other individuals on campus. And then secondary, you'll pick up right between this building and the 2-story building that's next to us here. And that we'll direct traffic out there so you can be aware of that. But just if you could help us with that. Also, for some of you who are new, our school hours, Pastor already mentioned the first day of school. There's a change there. I'm not trying to mess that up. We'll let you know more about that. But on a normal day, other than the first day, secondary classes, grades 6 through 12, you'll go from 8 o'clock to 2:45. And then if you're elementary, TK through 5, your normal school day is 8:15 to 3 o'clock. The last thing that I want to mention to you is most of you guys saw the black gate out there in the parking lot. Whenever you come up for school, that gate will be open in the mornings till about 9-ish. And then we close that gate and we have that as part of the playground area. So we're asking that you not park up there during the school day. Now you're going to drop off and everything and you can do all that. It'll be open. But about 9 o'clock we'll close that gate so that the kids can have all that area for the playground area. So please don't park up there. If you're up there, we're going to call you. We're going to try to figure that out. But if your car's out there during recess and there's footballs and basketballs flying around, I don't know. I can't be responsible for that, okay? Pastor already mentioned the classrooms will be sanitized every night and all of that. And you'll get more information. It's a lot to go over. Let me leave you with this. I know that I've talked to a lot of you guys who are new coming into school, and we've done tours, and I've met with you. I'm going to ask you your name again and again. I want to learn your names. I want to go through that. It takes me a little time. I'm older. I'm slow. It's hard for me to remember names, so I'll ask you that. But I want to say this to you. When I talked to you, one of the things I said to you was all this craziness going on that Pastor mentioned, all this stuff that's happening. There's 3 words that I've said to you, and there's I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with this and that and whatever. Let me say this, and we'll be dismissed. There's something I do know. I do know that we have a dedicated staff here. I do know that we have some great teachers here. I know that we have parents who want to be a part of Newport Christian School, and we're excited. And I think this is going to be the most exciting and the best year at Newport Christian School we've ever had. So thank you for your support. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for your flexibility. We're gonna go through this. When we started last year, we didn't know what the school year was going to bring. And we got through it, and I think our school did an amazing job. We don't know what this school year is going to bring, but I think it's going to be one of the best school years ever, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support of Newport Christian School. I'm going to pray, and then we'll dismiss. We'll go to the classroom. So let's have a word of prayer. Dear Lord, again, I thank you for today. I do thank you for Newport Christian School, and I thank you for all the families that are represented here. God, you know what's taking place. You know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know what's going to happen in the future. Lord, we trust you with it. I pray that you would protect Newport Christian School, protect the families that are here. Lord, we want you to get the honor and the glory for what's going to take place. I pray for the boys and girls in classes as they start next week. Lord, that they would get back to something that we could call normal, and they would begin to see their friends again, see their teachers again, be involved in school again, Lord. And to you we give all the honor and glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you for being here tonight. If you didn't get a folder, I think we had a couple extras, and the classrooms are open. Thank you.
Broken, weary soul, find your